This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
You probably knew this. I was actually thinking about this the other day and was trying to figure out when and where it was, because it felt like, well, it should be coming up here really soon. It's seems to be a little bit later this year than normal. The All Star game for Major League Baseball. It's July 15th this year. Mm-hmm. That seems to be a little later than normal.
Oh, yeah?
It usually feels like it's in the single-digit portion of July. But, I mean, I haven't done any deep dive into the actual calendar over the last 10 years. It's just that's what it feels like. It'll be in Atlanta on July the 15th. And the way that they've been doing the balloting for the past few years, the leading vote getters for each league in the early portion, the first round of fan balloting, become starters. Okay? And these guys were probably going to become starters. You could have held it. You could have probably announced it after day 1 or day 31. But Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge were the first players picked for the July 15th All Star game at Atlanta's Truist Park, selected by the fans.
I think if you stopped 100 cars, you probably would have got 100 to get those two.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. Judge led the Major League in votings with over 4 million votes in the first round of fan balloting. This will be his 7th American League start in 8 All-Star games. He missed the 2023 game because of that sprained toe that he suffered at Dodger Stadium. Ohtani, just short of 4 million. He'll become the first designated hitter to start in 5 straight All-Star games. Okay. So,
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool when you think about it. And because it used to be that you thought of, at least back in the day, the designated hitter was a guy that was kind of on his way out who couldn't play in the field anymore but could still hit. But yet they really couldn't find a place for him to stand because he couldn't move. Mm-hmm. You know, whether it's first base or outfield, or couldn't hide him somewhere on the field of play. The unfortunate thing in this early portion of the voting, no Rangers so far, kind of on the short list in terms of finals.
Because all your guys that'll be all-stars are in your pitching staff.
Right.
Those are picked by the manager.
Right.
I imagine Jacob deGrom will be an all-star. Just going to go on a limb there, say that's going to happen.
Well, it feels like doesn't feel like any of the position players have earned the right.
No, they've not stood out. Not stood out. Somebody comments that Major League Baseball teams have played 81 games. Yeah, we documented that yesterday, that they have played 81 games. Do you think Bruce Bochy would be up for if they came to him and said, hey, we would really like Jacob deGrom to start the All-Star game, that he would kind of set it up so that deGrom could do that? That would be his, quote, normal day to pitch?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I wouldn't want my manager to do that necessarily.
You wouldn't?
I mean, if it was my favorite team, I want my guy winning games.
Right. No, I understand that. But I mean,
if the last day before the All-Star break, he's scheduled to start, I don't want him starting and we bring some guy up from AAA to start in his place.
Okay.
I mean, if it works out, that's great.
Yeah, okay.
But otherwise, I want my guy trying to win games for us.
Yeah, I got you. Here's somebody that did the quick fact check for me. Last 25 years, All-Star games have been played between the July 11th and 19th. So I guess I was a bit off on that, with the exception of 2 outliers on the 9th. Okay, so it just felt like it was a little earlier in July, but maybe the 15th just felt like a little later for me. But it's sometimes perception isn't reality. I think this is I just get your Marquise asked this question. Do you guys think Josh Young is a bust?
I think Josh's injury problems have kept that question from being not a crazy question, because he's dealt with a lot. Mm-hmm. Okay. When he's been in there, he's been a good player for the Rangers, no question. I mean, he started an All-Star game. He would have won Rookie of the Year if he didn't get hurt. He's just missed a lot of time. And so, what do we say? Best ability is availability.
Sure.
And all that.
Mm-hmm.
For Josh, he's been off the field a lot. So I definitely would not call him a bust. And I don't think that's fair at this point. Again, he started an All-Star game for you. Was a major part of winning a championship. Oh, by the way, the only one you've ever won. Mm-hmm. Okay? And so you would absolutely take it and say he's been important to that success, that you never had that kind of success before. So, but at the same time, you have to acknowledge that he's not been able to stay healthy very much, and that's kept him from being out there every day, and kept him from racking up better numbers and all that good stuff.
And to me, just when I think of is a player a bust, it's where they have the high expectation and they never perform. And the problem for Josh, as you just talked about, was just his injuries, but he has performed. When he's been on the field, he has been a key player for you. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Somebody wants to know about, or makes a comment about why do Tech fans think that other schools are tampering? Tech isn't.
Because we're fans.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, you answer your own question there. I'm sorry. You did.
But I would tell you this. Look, I think there's gray area with everybody. So I don't think we should be blind to the fact that probably there's not some of that going on here as well. I'm sure that because look, I mean, plenty of people in the softball community have accused Texas Tech of tampering with all the people that have just been brought in. And when you look at all the people that have just brought in the timeline, hard to imagine that there wasn't some kind of conversation going on. Same thing probably with some football stuff and probably some basketball stuff. So, yeah, I'm sure it's going on with everybody. It's kind of one of those things, if you're not rubbing, you're not racing.
Yeah, it kind of feels like that's, so, you want your coaches to be doing everything everybody else is doing to try to get ahead, and you'd be surprised if, I think some are more blatant than others, but you'd be surprised if they weren't doing some of it.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Morning Drive, time for this day in sports history. Today is Friday, June 27th, 2025. Here's Jeff McGuire with this day in sports history.
1939, Brooklyn Dodgers tie the Boston Bees 2-2 in 23 innings.
They just give up?
It was called on account of darkness after 5 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They gave it the good old college try. 1956, Cleveland Indians trailing the Baltimore Orioles 9-1. They come back and win 12-11 in 11 innings.
Nice.
1980, Dodgers Jerry Royce.
Royce.
R-E-U-S-S, Royce?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jerry
He hits
Royce.
the San Francisco Giants 8-0.
Yeah.
1992. One of my, I don't want to say favorite, but every time this comes up, I smile when I think about it. Dan O'Brien fails in the pole vault and is eliminated from the Olympic decathlon.
Oh, my God. That was an epic fail. Because he was expected to. It
was Dan and Dave. And the Nike campaign, and everybody kind of went, what?
It was really unfortunate.
It is, but it brings the fun story of that campaign to mind.
Yeah.
2015, former Red Raider A.J. Ramos gets save number 10 on the year after a perfecto ninth inning, striking out 2 in a 3-2 Marlins win over the Dodgers. It is National Indian Pudding Day. Indian pudding is a baked custard with milk, butter, molasses, eggs, spices, and cornmeal. Before we get to today's birthdays, big one going out to tomorrow. Former Red Raider baseball coach, former LCU baseball coach, former LCU softball coach, Larry Hayes turns 81 tomorrow.
81. I think he's still working.
Still Colorado Christian softball coach?
I don't know if he's still there. I don't know if he's still there or if his son took over for him. Because I thought
No,
that
his
was...
son's in Grand Canyon.
Is his son in Grand Canyon? Okay. Sunday, one of our other favorites, Dylan Cantrell turns 31.
White House legend.
Anybody feel old?
That doesn't necessarily make me feel old.
Probably my wife, who was his kindergarten teacher.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Today, Tobey Maguire is 50, J.J. Abrams 59, Yordan Alvarez 28, and Jonah Heim is 30. And on this day, 1950, President Harry S. Truman announces that he is ordering U.S. air and naval forces to South Korea to aid in the democratic nation in repulsing an invasion by the communist North Koreans. The United States was undertaking the majority of the military operations. He expected to enforce a United Nations resolution calling for an end to hostilities and to stem the spread of communism in Asia. And that is this day in sports history.
Coach Hayes is still the softball coach at Colorado Christian.
Yeah. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Yeah, so we gave away some cash last night, and we gave away real cash last night. $25 $100 bills went to Irene Rodriguez last night at Soggy Dog. She was really excited, which anybody would be if you put $2,500 cold hard cash in their hand. I did not feel the cash to see if it was cold, but it was cash, and it was hard cash because it was right there in front of me. But $2,500 to Irene Rodriguez. We met and saw and had conversation with a number of Morning Drive listeners, including Dennis, who listens on his way to work. We all got to shake the hand of Dennis last night.
Yep.
Jamie and Jeff and I. And I met Jordan last night.
As did we.
Okay, good. Yeah. He did he tell you that he learned of winning $500 while he was on his way to work?
No,
that's what he told me. I was standing at the bar talking to him, and I met his significant other, and she was excited for him, but he goes, I didn't know that I'd won, and he was driving to work on Monday. He works at Lubbock Country Club. He's a greenskeeper, and he said, I won $500. I heard my name on the radio. I won $500.
Jordan remind Jeff and I to make sure that we said that we met a Morning Drive listener.
Okay.
So we didn't even get to chance, Jeff. I mean,
That's what happens when you meet Chuck.
I mean, we were going to mention the one guy that we had ever mentioned that we met as a Morning Drive listener.
I'm sorry.
And Chuck, he's a man of the people, man. He's a man of the people.
I stole your thunder. I'm so sorry.
You're going to give Jordan a shout out, but you already did it.
Turn that alarm off now.
Yeah, I had set an alarm on my phone to remind myself.
Is that right?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How do you know it was hard cash if you didn't feel it? Well,
because it didn't fold. Ha! We win.
6:51 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Also, yesterday, we missed this yesterday. I saw this as I went and looked back at something. Yesterday was National Handshake Day. Did you know that?
I don't pay attention to Handshake Day. Okay. That's not my job. My job is food.
Your job is food.
I pay attention to.
Okay. Well, yeah, yesterday.
There's like 1,000 holidays for every day. We pay attention to the food.
Sure. No, I got you. Let's see here.
Like there's National Act Like a Cat Day. I'm not bringing that up.
Mm-hmm. A cat day?
You name it, it's out there.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
A cat day. 6:51 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Take your thoughts and comments on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to double-T973.com for that of the mobile app. The Visual Edge IT hotline is open too. All right. This Josh Young is not a bust. Texas Tech fans have a tendency to put unrealistic expectations on him like they do with many former Red Raiders. Do you think that's a fair comment?
I don't know about the unrealistic expectations part. I don't think he's a bust. Again, maybe up to this point, his career hasn't been worthy of a top 10 pick in the draft, but a few seasons of him staying healthy and putting up good numbers, and that changes.
Yeah.
He's still very young.
Yeah. Let's see.
He'll always be young.
Yeah, he'll always be young. That's right, sure will. Young. Be a young. That was really funny, Jamie. He'll always be young. He will. He'll always be young.
And he'll always be little Josh to me.
Will he always be young?
How is Jace doing?
I haven't heard much from Jace lately. Yeah, I don't know how he's doing in AAA.
The Tigers are doing well. I mean,
they're killing it.
Man, probably more so than what we thought when they drafted him, right? That their rise to the top has come pretty quick, and they seem to kind of have it going from about August of last year to where we are right now. They've really been playing really good baseball.
Yeah, they really have. Yeah,
So.
got a good pitching staff and a good young nucleus of offensive players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll have Ranger baseball and Astro baseball on the air for you tonight. Astros and the Cubs at 6:40, play-by-play at 7:10. And then the Rangers and the Mariners at 6:30 tonight, 7:10-ish for us from Arlington as they take on the Seattle Mariners, who are right above them. Do you think the Cubs have lost their luster a little bit?
In what way?
Well, it just feels like that they're not the national team like they used to be when WGN was Superstation and they were carrying they're not the lovable Cubs anymore because they're winning.
They won once.
They won once, right?
Yeah, once. That's well, I mean, it makes sense that them and the Braves are not the only ones that are getting exposure all the time now. So
Yeah.
I think that's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Jamie Lent, Jeff McGuire, and Chuck Heinz. Thank you for being with us today on the Morning Drive. Hey, if I would have told you, I guess at the start of May or June, that the first Texas Tech home football game to sell out was going to be Oklahoma State, would you have been surprised by that?
Not at all.
So the first two haven't sold out?
No. Of the
Yes.
what they call the primary ticket availability, and by that I think they mean that I think they try to estimate how many students are going to come, and then if they feel like there's going to be some leftovers, then after they've sold this quote primary ticket, then they would release some additional tickets or have some available on game day. Yes,
I would be surprised that the first game has not sold out.
Against Arkansas Pine Bluff?
The first game.
Okay. And so
it's really against, doesn't matter.
Yeah, generally the first game has been one of your higher attended games, regardless of who you've played, especially on the student side. And as the games, and obviously they have Parents Weekend and things like that, and then you get into the rivalry matchups and the games themselves that are going to have a big impact, whether it's BYU or UCF or homecoming. And Jeff, do you think it's because of Oklahoma State being one of your biggest rivals, or do you think it has something to do with the Ring of Honor, or do you think it's just the date of October the 25th?
I think it's the Ring of Honor.
You do?
Honoring Graham Harrell. I think it's Oklahoma State. I think they're one of your long-standing rivals in the Big 12. It's the team that, if you were to pick 1, 2, 3 for everybody for their biggest rivals for Tech sports as we sit now, for teams that you would play in conference. Oklahoma State is either 1 or 2 for everybody. There aren't many people that have Oklahoma State as 3 if they're Red Raider fans. I mean, you may really hate Baylor in basketball, but it's TCU and Oklahoma State are 1-2 for almost everybody out there. And you're not playing TCU at home. Do you think rank the order of why you think it's sold out? Ring of Honor, Oklahoma State, and what was the third thing that you said? Date. No, you said I don't think the date has anything to do with it. I think this is why. I don't know. I just asked. I just threw that. They're going to be good, or I just threw that out there because I think the number one reason is because it's Oklahoma State. I am surprised that it was the first game to sell out, but also the added bonus of Graham Harrell for the Ring of Honor. Do you really think people are buying tickets just because of that? Not just because, but it's an ad. It's the I'm getting an ice cream sundae and they're putting a cherry on top kind of concept. It's not I'm having to make 2 trips if I want to go to the Ring of Honor game. I also get to see Graham go in. Maybe if it's Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. I can't imagine Graham Harrell is selling many tickets. Yeah, I'm with Jamie on this. And I love Graham Harrell. Yeah, I'm with Jamie on this. But like Jeff said, it's just an added bonus to it. It is. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me that the Kansas game is not the first one. The Kansas game, in my opinion, is a much tighter, less of a gimme game. Maybe it's the fact that it's Oklahoma State and they've pounded us for so many years. So now it's our chance to see us pound them. Our fans are like, hey, we finally get to give it back to them. I'm here for that. But the Kansas game to me is a bigger game. It's a game that's more in doubt, and I bet it'll sell out. This from the Yates Morning Center chat line. It's also family weekend, so there were a bunch of tickets available to Tech families at a discounted price. Okay. That's a factor too. That's probably the biggest one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I bet it's even bigger than Oklahoma State. Yeah. Yep. I mean, there's parents' weekend at various times. There's family weekend. There's homecoming. I mean, there's generally speaking. I mean, for each of the home games, there's something that's associated with it. Be on campus, or that people are trying to draw attention to. Even it's funny. Kent State. You can argue all day long whether you think TCU or Oklahoma State or Baylor is our biggest rival. Okay. Again, that's just everybody's opinion or choice or whatever. Those were not necessarily the games that sold out the fastest back in the day. It was Texas or Oklahoma. Or A&M even. Yeah, or A&M, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it wasn't TCU or Baylor or Oklahoma State. And I wouldn't consider Texas our biggest rival. It might be the team that we hated the most, or A&M the team we hated the most. Mm-hmm. But that's what sold tickets. Yeah, I mean those 2 sections in the north end, that were put up on the opposite side of the scoreboard. Those were put up because of A&M and extra seats. So you can hate Oklahoma State all you want, or you can call them a rival all you want, but it's not necessarily the rivalry that necessarily brings people in. Yeah. But it's the one we've got now. Yeah, no, and TCU and Baylor are not on our schedule this year. Mm-hmm. So it is like the biggest rival that you do have on the schedule. Yeah, no question. I don't question why people are selling it out. I mean, I totally understand that. I'm just saying that Kansas to me is where we need the crowd more. No argument. That's going to be a bigger game. 2 teams that should be good football teams. The 2 teams that, I don't know. KU might be a little bit on the outside looking in, but we'll have to see. But 2 teams that feel like going into the season, hey, we got a shot to finish high in this conference this year. Yeah. It does. I don't think Oklahoma State's saying that. Yeah, it does feel a little early to announce a sellout. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not sold out. I think that's indicative of the season that you're going to have. And I don't think it's early. I think why not promote? Hey, we're this far out, and already fans are showing how excited they are. Yeah, no, I'm just. I think again, that's just promotion of your program. Right? Yeah, you just don't usually hear it this early. I mean,
You don't usually sell it out this early.
That's my point. I didn't do a very good job of communicating that, but that's my point. Is that I think
you seem like you were critical of them announcing.
Oh no, not that at all. Okay. I'm just surprised. I think it's indicative of where you are and what the anticipation is like. And I would bet there's some games that are also close to being sold out.
Yeah, again, I will be surprised if the first two and the Kansas one aren't sold out by the time we get there.
Oh yeah, no.
Maybe not Kent State.
No, that's a 11 o'clock kick.
First three, I forget. Oregon State's home too.
Yeah.
And feel like a future Jamie's question of the day. Pick the next sellout for the Texas Tech football team.
Maybe people will get they'll get their fill for that first game. We saw our team, blah, 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 blah. We're going to be back for Oregon State because that's a bigger name. We know we're going to kill Kent State. It's going to be boring by the second quarter, and that one won't be a sellout.
I so hope you're right. That it's boring by the second quarter.
You're worried?
Yes and no.
Am I worried?
About Kent State? You're worried about Kent State.
I'm not worried about Kent State.
The immediate answer wasn't no. You are in fact worried about Kent State. You can be worried about Kent State. I'm not being critical. You accept that.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried about it, and I'm not certainly going to compare it to anything from the past. Who
are you, and what have you done with Chuck Heinz?
I'm just telling you that I've seen Kent State win a football game that I didn't think that they were going to win.
Who are you, and what have you done with Chuck Heinz?
It's him. It is him. Because the Jayhawks lost to him 25 years ago, we're worried. Even though they're the worst team in college football a season ago, they just fired their coach a month ago.
I know.
And because they beat the Jayhawks in 82 on a field goal that bounced off the upright, and there were 16 people in the crowd at the KU game, we're worried about them beating Tech.
No.
If we don't beat them by 50, it'll be a surprise.
I know. I just.
We have the 6th best roster in the country.
I know.
We have paid millions and millions of dollars for this roster.
I know.
And because they beat KU in 82, we're worried?
It was 1987, but it was 31-17.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
Hey, just so you know, I would have loved to have been James Bond.
But you're not British.
Yeah. I know I'm not British, but I would want to be the Roger Moore version of James Bond.
You would have to be Jason Bourne. That's the rule. It's not my rule, it's theirs.
If we're just going to be honest about things right now, okay, and you were just very honest, I would pay a lot of money to see a movie where it's done right, it's the full tilt James Bond with Chuck Heinz doing the acting. I would pay a lot of money for that.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like, a lot. I mean, I think I would sell my Mahomes autographed rookie card.
Really?
Just so I could.
Or give it to me?
Yes, just to see that whole production.
Sell to you. Yes.
Yes.
What do you think that thing's worth now?
I know it's like, I don't know, it's around $2,000 or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
The particular one that I have. I mean,
it's
just
pristine.
depends on. No, I'm saying there are a lot of different ones that you get.
Yeah.
You can get. This particular one is one that's autographed and all that good stuff.
Nice.
So some are cheaper, some are more expensive,
Sure,
some are more rare. Yeah.
Sure.
I just would think that would be awesome, Chuck. Even like the opening credits where he turns and points his gun.
Right.
I would love to see you do that.
Wearing the tuxedo. I feel like I could do that pretty well.
Can you just do it right now for us?
I think I could do that pretty well, I think.
Okay. Sorry.
That's something you didn't expect today.
It's not. So my question for you guys today, all right, it's going to involve Red Raider football.
Nice.
Okay. Glad you like that. Okay. So I think it's fair for all of us to say, without being a complete homer, we have at Texas Tech the best pitcher in college softball. Okay, can we say that?
Yeah, I think so. Without question. Yeah.
All right, we can say that. Mm-hmm. If you got to choose, all right, if you got to choose the football field and say we have the best blank in college football, this is wide open.
Yeah,
wide open. Except for you can't say win percentage.
Okay.
Okay. We have the best what in college football? What would you pick?
Oh,
you could pick player, coach, fans, stadium.
What we have right now, or what I want us to have?
What you want.
Okay. I want us to have the best quarterback in college football. With hands down. Quarterback is the number one position. I mean, and I realize that there was a time that arguably you had one of the best quarterbacks in college football and you didn't win. So on one hand, you kind of go, well, you kind of had that, Chuck, and you didn't, win a Big 12 title with him. Didn't even, finish above 500. But,
Yeah, you looked at him and thought he wasn't ready for the NFL.
I did. I said.
Very vocal about that.
I said, I'm not afraid to admit that I was wrong. I'm glad I was.
All right, Jeff.
Defensive line. Having the best defensive line in college football
you might have
make
it.
Me a very, very happy fan. Because then they can have the best quarterback. He's going to be on his butt. And that means he is ineffective. And how do I know? Because I have seen it a lot in college football.
I think Jeff is making a lot of sense. I think, Chuck, you talked yourself out of your answer. I mean, you gave proof to why that's not the best choice.
It's just the truth. But with right now, I would love to go into the season without a question at quarterback.
I would take a really good quarterback and a great offensive line over the best quarterback and a mediocre offensive line. Yeah. I'm picking offensive line, and I think it's because I'm more interested in the offensive side of things than the defensive side of things. I think Jeff's answer makes sense, but I just think when you have a really good offensive line, you have the ability, if you have the best offensive line in college football, your average quarterback becomes better, your average running backs become better, your average wide receivers become better. And I'm not saying we have average. I'm just saying if you had that, everybody's better.
It raises the tide.
If your offensive line is not great, it brings everybody down. Okay? Now, could a great defensive line set up your offense more? Yeah, sure it could. Absolutely it could. But I would go with the offensive line. I wish we could say we had the best offensive line in college football.
Offensive line would be my second pick between the two. But if the defensive line is the best in football, that gives you the opportunity for big man touchdowns.
Yeah. Somebody on the chat line says team. Thank you. That was really good. That's really good. I am, nobody said coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody said kicker/punter.
No.
Nobody
kicker,
said
punter.
That. Kicker/punter guy.
Yep. No. I thought about it.
Nobody said NIL collective.
No.
Okay.
Band. No one said band.
Well, that's kind of sad. I think we.
Sorry, going band.
And somebody brought up the horse, that we got the best horse in the business.
We do. Yeah.
I think our horse game has been somewhat neutered by all the people on the field. I want to see that horse run like the wind. I mean, and it does.
It does.
Yeah, it does. It does for the most part. I want to see him. Allow the masked rider to put the reins in his mouth or her mouth again, with the guns up, at midfield, like back in the day. And there's some people there's the real back in the day people going, well, I want to see that horse go up on the grass like it used to on the north end. Well, there's not enough grass there anymore.
It's going to be a big jump.
Well, it used to go right up the grass. There wasn't a retaining wall there. And then, go up on his hind legs, and then it ran over the damn cheerleader, and then, because cheerleader's in the way. I think it was a Baylor cheerleader.
Darn cheerleaders.
And then our horse ran into the wall and killed himself. You know,
Why you gotta bring that
I
up?
think
bad
we're
deal.
all well aware, Chuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, somebody said speakers. I thought they were much improved last year.
I thought so too. Yeah. The sound system was outstanding last year. Outstanding.
Yeah.
Somebody says this. I need Chuck as Bond. Jamie is the head of 00 agents, and Jeff is the villain. Chuck chasing a bad guy in his blue shirt, nice coat and tie with his visor on, then trips because of his slides. I'm out of the slides business. Okay, I'm out of the slides business.
This is Pink Panther, isn't it? 007.
I like the Pink Panther too, Peter Sellers. I'm probably
You'd
more.
be better as a Pink Panther than 007.
I think you're probably right about that.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Thank
I
you
would be
for-
shocked if either of you guys knew this one.
Can you turn it up a little bit?
I would be shocked.
Is this The Great Escape?
This is not The Great Escape.
It's pretty close.
This is The Last Starfighter.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This is a deep cut. One of my favorite fun movies of the 80s. Mm-hmm. Great for the time, great special effects. I would be shocked if either of you have even seen it.
Have you seen it? I have not seen it either. No.
No, sir.
Really, really fun movie that, proved that you can make a living playing video games.
Let me ask you this about TJ Pompey. Did he have to have surgery on his wrist? Or were they able to rehab it?
I don't think he needed to have surgery.
Okay.
No.
And so we talked about, the loss of that, and then now you're trying to replace some of these guys, but I mean a number of the ones that put themselves in the portal either weren't part of the team or weren't big contributors or
Never played a pitch for you.
Yeah, never played a pitch for you. So
Yeah. 5 of them.
Do you think people are a little more concerned when they look at the number than they should be?
The number now at 14, yes, absolutely. The last two were guys that were major quote-unquote contributors for you, and that's TJ Pompey and Tyler Boudreau. But again, as we talked about the other day, Tyler Boudreau was 1-4 with a 6.55 ERA. Yes, he was your Saturday starter, but those don't sound like numbers that you're feeling like, man, how do we find somebody else that can do that, right? Mm-hmm. You're definitely, if you're going to be a good baseball team, you have to be better than that.
Yeah.
Now, the hope was that Tyler would, or the thought maybe that he would come back and that he would, he would improve on that in his second year of playing Division I baseball. So, but I don't know. And then TJ Pompey, I mean, it's tough because, I mean, there's no way to get around it. His defense cost you just flat out 4 or 5 games over the last 2 seasons. Mm-hmm. But his bat was good. And, the hard part for me about this one is that it's just, to see a coaching staff when every Tech fan knew that, Pompey's defense was hurting you and there was criticism there and the coaching staff stood behind him and backed him and they really liked the kid and they were supportive of him and, stood up for him and all that this is ultimately what he decides to do. It's, again, it is what it is. And there were some questions about whether he and his people were, not happy with the fact that he wasn't guaranteed the starting shortstop position and these kind of things. But when you're struggling defensively, you can't guarantee that. Now, was he probably going to have a shot? Sure, he was going to have a shot to win that job, but I don't know that whether or not he was going to win it. And that's disappointing. But again, I think this team, at the end of the season, made it a priority to keep some of these guys and make sure that they were taken care of financially with what they have to spend. And TJ was one of those guys. And so he's been taken care of and all that good stuff, and he's been supported. And ultimately, he and his people felt like it was better for his draft stock to head somewhere else.
Do you think this is a fair comment from Bobby Hot Dogs? My thoughts on the timing are that he wasn't planning on leaving, but someone came in and made him an offer?
I think money is potentially a factor in it. I will tell you, heading into last season, he was the highest paid Red Raider on the team, and I don't know. I got to believe if he wasn't still, I'm sure he was close. Mm-hmm. So was money possibly a factor with somebody else? Possibly. But again, I also think wanting to guarantee being the everyday shortstop, I think, was a part of it as well.
Do you think, and this is going to be pure conjecture, and I know you don't always like these types of questions, but I'll give it a shot. Was he a player that you think was willing to work on his defensive skills? Yeah. I think that's one of the things that the coaching staff liked about him. They felt like he worked hard and he's a good kid. Wasn't necessarily a guy that just like, oh, hey, I got to get in the batting cage here for an hour and a half, and I'll take 15 minutes worth of grounders.
No, I don't think. I don't think that at all.
That's good.
I don't think that at all. I do think there was maybe there wasn't the desire to go learn the outfield position like maybe he needs to. Mm-hmm. Feels like that's if he's gonna play, deep at the next level, he probably needs to learn that, because it doesn't seem like his infield play has been good enough up to this point. But who knows? Maybe he'll surprise us. I go back to something that one of the coaches told me, on a trip where TJ had struggled defensively, and they talked about when we were recruiting TJ, we had major questions about could he hit every day. But there was never any question about his defense. He was really smooth defensively. They never wondered whether or not he could play defense at this level. And it turned out at the college level it flipped, where his bat played and he struggled at times on defense. And you gave him every opportunity, moving him to, starting at short, moving to second, moving to third, trying to find a spot that fit him so you could keep him in the lineup. Ultimately, at the end of his freshman year, they had moved him to the DH spot, and that wasn't working out well. If you remember, he had like an 0-for-27 streak towards the end of his freshman year that, hurt those freshman numbers. But still showed a lot of potential. He's a terrific athlete, and I think that he'll turn out being he should, if he can keep going the way he has offensively, turn out to be a good college baseball player. I don't think the program was trying to get rid of him by any stretch of the imagination. But I do think heading into the year, you asked yourself, where was he going to play?
Yeah.
Where was he going to play? It was, you just didn't know because of the questions about the defense. And we also know, if you're a Red Raider baseball fan and you've been paying attention over the last 2 years, that some of the most frustrating things was not being fundamentally sound, not being sound and solid on defense. All coaches will tell you got to be solid up the middle. Catcher, short, second, center field. Defensively, you have not been that. And look at the results. You've not been good.
Yeah.
Coleman Ryan, not, at this point, a big threat at the plate, but was way better defensively at shortstop. Mm-hmm. He made more of the simple plays and made some spectacular ones as well. And even though and Coleman, ended up being the starting shortstop at the end of the season, and that's, winning baseball usually has good defensive play at shortstop. That just can't be one of those positions where you sacrifice offense for a good defensive shortstop. You just can't.
Well, and unfortunately, probably what's going to happen is the next school that he goes to, he might hear the same conversation that he heard from the tech coaches, and he might have to listen and go, okay, I'm going to have to go play left field, or I'm going to have to go play
scouts.
Right. Or scouts. Yeah. And I think the other thing that I wonder too is, sometimes change of scenery is best for everybody.
Yep, absolutely.
And he may be in a situation where just the yips, of
maybe so. So yeah, maybe that's the case. It's just disappointing when a guy is
no question
supported like he was,
no doubt,
and they had his back, and to see him, ultimately not really reward that.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.